Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. As I mentioned previously, every Friday I hope to talk about like football Fridays, and on Saturdays and Sundays like soccer Saturdays and soccer Sundays respectively. Anyway, I was going to say sorry about the thumbnail. I don't know why I looked so serious and angry then. I was probably just trying to focus on trying to make a better thumbnail. But anyway, yeah, a bit disappointing with the thumbnail, but I was a bit too lazy to change it. But so once I made it, I decided to stick to it. Anyway. I hope that people, football fans or soccer fans or whichever term you prefer, all around the world, including in America and the Americas generally, Australia, Asia, and Africa and elsewhere, will, as many of them as possible, watch these videos and possibly chip in with your own 2 cents. When I make these videos live, I always make my videos live anyway. I like to make them live and unscripted and all that kind of thing, not too scripted. But please post any questions you like, any questions, queries, comments, theories, or anything else. Like, say, for instance, who you think is going to win the EPL, or any questions you want to ask me as well, or who do you think is going to win Serie A, La Liga, or whatever other league. As I often mention, I'm a big fan of Italian football and Celtic, but Italian football and Mediterranean teams generally, especially in particular Italian teams. So, but I would love to read comments, or hear from, or listen to, read whatever comments from people from different football teams, fans. So yeah, Newcastle fans, West Ham fans, Arsenal fans, Man City, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, Benfica, whatever other teams, even teams in Africa and Asia. I love to read your comments and that kind of thing, like including on topics like how football could be used for good, to fundraise for good causes, or whether you think football could be used for good, or any thoughts you have on football, like whether you think footballers are overpaid prima donnas, your thoughts on your own club, like whether you think the players are letting you down or playing well, or whatever else you want to comment. On the subject of Arsenal specifically, my mate, one of my best mates, is an Arsenal fan. Apologies if I've repeated this point before, but he mocked me when Italy failed to qualify for the World Cup, unfortunately, twice in a row. And he's mocked me whenever Italian teams lose or things like that. He started off like giving me banter, whatever that means. Like, well, for any people outside the UK, I don't know if they use the same term in America or elsewhere, but banter basically means like when you take the mick out of each other. So he took the mic out of Mick, if you like. And yeah, he's always mocked me. So I tried to mock him when Arsenal were losing. Unfortunately, this season it's been a bit of a nightmare in a way because Arsenal have been riding high and doing really well. So that's been quite a nightmare. Obviously, they didn't qualify last year for the World Cup, or for last year's World Cup rather. So it's been a bit of a nightmare in that way, and like Arsenal are doing really well, so that's a bit disappointing. But obviously they did drop points recently against West Ham. I think it was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's West Ham. They dropped two goal lead for the second time. I'm not sure if it was the second time in a row. I think it's the second time in a row or whatnot. People can inform me if I make mistakes or whatever, but in the comment section, as I say. But obviously they dropped to 2 goal lead against Liverpool. I'm sure that was the last game they played, and then against West Ham again. So the last game before West Ham. And so yeah, they've dropped 2 goal leads twice, if I'm not mistaken, to the best of my knowledge. So that's pretty cool. And I hope Man City beat them, and also Newcastle beat them, so that Man City can hopefully win the league. It'd be quite interesting. It was like by a point. It'd be quite. I could probably rub it into my friends. Sorry for any other Arsenal fans out there. This is nothing against you. It's just my mate. He's a pain in the neck, so to put it politely. So yeah, so a bit of banter. Although he's a good mate of mine, really, but obviously for football we have a bit of banter. We do have each other's backs and like support each other when we can, but we do like to take the mick out of each other a little bit as well as friends, kind of, strange British sort of way. My own local team, I don't know if I should tell anyone what my local team is, because I don't want people to know where I live. So my own local city team is not doing very well. Which brings me on to another point. Who do you think is going to get relegated from the EPL, and who do you think is going to win it? Do you think Man City will see it? Do you think Arsenal will see it out, or do you think Man City can win? I'd love to hear from different fans on that. But as I say, I hope Man City do pip them to the title. Sorry, any Arsenal fans out there. I hope you don't take it too harshly. But yeah, just a bit of fun, just a bit of banter, as they say. But yeah, I'd say I hope Man City and Newcastle beat Arsenal so that Man City can win the title if they win all their games for the rest of the season, in the league at least. But yeah, I'm sure there was a point I was going to make, but I completely forgot. But yeah, so Sugar. There was a point I was going to make about Arsenal, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I hope Man City pipped them to it. But yeah, who do you think is going to get relegated from the EPL? That's another, or from other leagues. Who do you think is going to win other leagues, or who do you think is going to get relegated? I'd like to ask more opinion polls, but they only allow YouTube only allows one opinion poll. So next videos I'll try and remember those questions like who do you think is going to win the Premier League, who do you think is going to get relegated, and things like that. Anyway, moving on to something positive. Celtic look like we are going to win the league again, which is great, and I hope that we can win as many league titles and trophies as possible. Hopefully, we will officially be over Rangers, our rivals, our nearest and dearest rivals. I use the term sarcastically, of course. But even though I'm a Celtic fan, I would love to read comments. Hopefully, not too harsh ones, certainly not threatening ones, though. But especially, but if people want to be harsh, you can be harsh. Of course, it is banter or whatever. But from our Rangers fans, like what you think. But yeah, who do you think is going to win the SPL? Any football fans? That's another question I could ask. But it looks like the money's on Celtic winning, hopefully, and hopefully we can win as many trophies as possible, and hopefully go over Rangers. Officially, they're on 55, I suppose, and Celtic's on 53. Although a lot of Celts say that I put the word in speech marks for some reason, but yeah, a lot of Celts, Celtic fans say that they're a new team and they're no longer the old Rangers. So I suppose that is debatable. But in terms of the SPL, in terms of the people who run Scottish football, and if I'm not mistaken, FIFA and UEFA all say that. To be fair, should be careful what I say. So sorry to any of my fellow Celts out there, but supposedly the Rangers are still ahead of us at the moment. But yeah, hopefully within the next couple of seasons, or two or three seasons, I'm not sure mathematically how long it would take, but hopefully how long it could take, even if we win a treble this season, and which looks like it's certainly possible. Hopefully we will, and but I'm not sure how long it would take, even if we win a treble for the next couple of seasons. I think we're a couple of trophies behind if we do win this season, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, I think we can probably draw level in terms of overall trophies, but league titles. We're a couple behind, even if we win this season in terms of records. So I hope we can do that also for the next few seasons. So hopefully by 2025 or 2026, Celtic will be officially known as the greatest side in Scottish history, and possibly win the most trophies out of any team, maybe in the world, or at least second to a Egyptian side whose name I forget. But yeah, so hopefully Celtic will continue to do well. We won, technically still today, but yeah, 1-4-1. So that was, although I missed the game, I think it sounds pretty good. It sounds like a victory. I would have loved to have seen us get more, heard of us getting more, like 6 or 7 goals. That would be pretty cool. I'd love to do that every game, but obviously it's not always going to work like that. Sometimes teams play better defensively, or you miss chances, or apparently, as I saw the highlights, or some of the highlights, and Kyogo hit the bar on a penalty, unfortunately. So that was a bit disappointing, but obviously still a victory. 3 points is the most important thing in that game. Newcastle, I'm shocked that they lost 3-0 against West Ham. I thought they were gonna beat them. When I saw the score, I thought it was the other way around. I read it first. I read it as Newcastle winning 3-0. So I was shocked to hear it was the opposite way around, because they've been doing really well. They've been doing really good since the takeover. But I'd love to read from Newcastle fans as well. Hopefully not too harsh comments. But yeah, how do you think your team's done? Obviously, I imagine you'd be very happy with it, because from just about avoiding relegation. Sorry, if I can speak properly. You are now close to being in the top 4 at least. In the top 4, if not in the top 3. Teams this season, most likely, or even if you get in the top 5. I mean, compared to your expectations at the start of the season, I imagine that would have been a very good. Although Aston Villa, if I said West Ham, I meant Aston Villa. I don't know why I get those two mixed up. The names don't even sound that similar. But Aston Villa, I know they play in a similar strip, but I don't know why I get names mixed up. But Aston Villa, I suppose, is doing quite well, considering how well they would have thought they were done since Unai Emery's come in. So I'd love to read from Aston Villa fans how you think your manager's done. As I often say, sorry I jumped from point to point, but I would love for dyslexic people and other neurodiverse people to showcase what we can do for Italian football and Celtic, how we can improve it and show a positive thing about neurodiversity through football, in this case, Italian football and Celtic, um, and possibly other sports teams, but especially Italian football and Celtic. In particular, I love to showcase what our strengths are. I don't know how I'd sell that idea to my fellow neurodiverse people who support other teams, but yeah, I'd love to convince them to support Italian football and Celtic and showcase what we can do and travel to Italy together and things like that, as well as my fellow Anglo-Indians and other Eurasians as well. Sorry, excuse me. Um, I often like to share random thoughts that I have in my mind, and which is a lot of what this is, to be fair. But I do sometimes think, oh, maybe I shouldn't share some of my thoughts because they are a bit out there. But I was thinking like Spal, an Italian team, Spal, if I pronounce them right. If there are any people who can speak Italian properly, please post that in the comment how to pronounce Spal. I think it's an acronym actually, but for obviously 4 words amalgamated into one. But Spal, I was thinking there's a term in English which is, please forgive me for using this term, but spag, which is an offensive term for disabled people. But I was thinking, what if spal turn a negative into a positive? I often talk about turning negatives, or I often think about and try and talk about turning negatives into positives, or making positives from out of negatives. So I think it'd be interesting if spal could use the term spag in a positive way to like raise awareness of disability and what terms are negative, what terms are positive, and how to see disability in a more positive light. I'd like to know what people think about that, but hopefully, again, you won't be too harsh. Another one is spezia, and I think the start of spezia does make me think like, what if special needs people showcase what strengths we have for spezia, and also spezia raise money for special needs, and by special needs it can go to real severe levels or be like something like dyslexia or ADHD, which I think has many positives to it. I'd love to work with Made by Dyslexia, the Dyslexia Advantage, and others, as I often say, to showcase what we can do for Italian football and Celtic. Although these specific videos, generally speaking, will be on football, soccer more generally. But yeah, I would love to think of ideas of how to improve Italian football and stroke or Celtic even more in Celtic's case. Celtic are doing very well domestically at least, but how can Celtic go to the next level and win in Europe? So I'd love to read people's comments on those sorts of suggestions if you made it this far in this videos. But yeah, over time, I hope to discuss those sort of things like how Italian football can improve, how Celtic can improve. Although Italian teams at club team level are doing quite well and have 3 teams. I'm not sure if it's a quarter-final stage or a semi-final stage, but so far so good. But although I still think there's a long way to go, it could still be Man City or Real Madrid. They look really hard to beat, as I previously mentioned. So I'm not going to hold my breath and think Italian teams are definitely going to win. But I hope, against hope, that either Napoli, AC Milan, or Inter Milan win. I hope Inter Milan can see Benfica through, and to be honest, I don't really mind which Italian team wins as long as one of them wins, as long as an Italian team have that quirky sort of thing. But yeah, hopefully an Italian team will finally win a Champions League and preferably also a Conference League and stroke or Europa League as well. I'd love to see Italian teams win those sorts of trophies, whether it's Fiorentina or whoever. I hope Roma come good as well and overturn the deficit. I hope they'll do well and keep fighting under Mourinho. Hopefully he can show that he can win more than just one season, like just his first season. He can show he can win another trophy again. But yeah, so I hope I didn't waffle too much. I'm sure there are other things I could discuss, but I'm going to wrap this up because the video has gone on quite long and I am out. Peace and up.